This video is going to be all about how you can achieve your own at-home bridal eye makeup and lip. I'm going to also be doing lip in this video. And my part one is all about how you can do your at-home airbrush makeup. I don't use an airbrush gun. It's all foundation, cream products, and powder products. It's really in-depth. I really talk about the technique rather than specific product, but just different techniques on how you can get your makeup to last. So if you want to check that out, you can check out my video. But today is going to be all about eyes. So if any of you are having weddings coming up, congrats. I know right now with quarantine and everything, it's tricky, so a lot of people are doing their own makeup. So I hope you can really find this video useful on how you can do your own bridal makeup at home and look flawless. So for today, I'm going to be using the Too Faced chocolate bar. If you don't have this, don't you dare worry. You can get NYX, whatever you want. I'll just show you the specific colors I'm using, and I'm sure you all have something at home similar. I'm going to be applying Ardell Demi Wispies, a pair of these false lashes, if you're interested in doing that yourself. That way I can fully walk you through that. A little winged liner. Brown is more soft and flattering on many skin tones rather than blacks or grays. So I think any skin type can find this useful, and it's just more romantic and smoky. I think I am going to be applying a little gold shimmer on my lid, but if that's too much for you, you can totally just go with this with like a cream color on your lid, and that will help your eyes pop. So number one, you want to prime your eyes always. I know some people think it's silly, but on a day like today, it's going to conceal any redness you may have on your lids, but also, I don't know if you can see on this lid, you can already see it greasing, like product greasing up, getting caught in that lid. There's nothing worse than greasy oiliness in your lid. So this product is going to prevent that from happening. It's going to prevent your eyeshadows from greasing up or wearing away. It's going to help them last longer and just show up better as well, rather than if I just went on to my bare eyelid with eyeshadow. A primer really can enhance your eyeshadows and just help them be a little more pigmented. So once you have your eyeshadow primer on, now we just go in with eyeshadow. So first I'm gonna start with a more fluffy brush. This is the Sephora Pro Crease brush. So I'm gonna go in with this cream shadow, this big top one first. I like to set my primer so that the brown shades will glide on more smoothly and not streak up or be creasy. I always do this with my makeup too. You know, I first apply a primer, I first apply a foundation, concealer, and then I go in with a loose setting powder to set it, and that creates a smoother canvas for my bronzer and blush to glide on more smoothly so that it doesn't get streaky or chalky or patchy or anything. So you can see that it just helps dry it up so it won't be sticky, and it just helps smooth it out all in all. I'm gonna start with this color Milk Chocolate. You can see that this is a more cool toned brown shade. I first tap it, tap, tap, tap. I start in the outer part of my eye and I wiggle this in the crease. I'm carving out my eyeball. So if you don't have a crease, it's usually in the middle part between your eyelashes and your eyebrow. You can see that's like truly in the middle. It also carves out your eyeball so you can feel your eyeball, and then right above, that's your crease. And by carving this out, this is gonna help my eyes appear bigger, rather than just having shadows like blend all the way up to your eyebrow. It just wraps around, it hugs that eyeball, but it's a little bit above the crease, so it's just gonna help my eyes look bigger. I don't wanna go in with the darkest color. You wanna start with a lighter color, like that's way too dark. That's way too dark, that will be chalky and patchy. But by starting with a light, and you can go lighter than that, any tan brown shade, it's gonna be great because this is where the shadow naturally falls on your eye. So it's like contouring your eye a little bit. And you go back and forth, you know, windshield wiper motions. But I always go in little circular motions, backward and forward, to blur out that line, because you don't want a stark line. You want this to be very soft and smoky and seamless. So circular motions, and this can take you as long as it needs to. If you happen to go straight in with a very darker brown than you anticipated, that's okay. Next, go in with a lighter brown and then go in circular motions as long as you have to over that till that line just kind of blurs out, and that's a way to kind of fix your mistake if that happens. So you can see all in all just what that did for my eyes. I think it just really helps carve it out. So now it's time to build. Next, the same fluffy brush, I'm gonna go in with this more tan, warm tan color. If you have this, it's called Salted Caramel. but just your typical warm tan color. Same thing, I'm gonna go over everything. Circular motions. All above that crease. You know, if a little bit gets on your eyelid, that's okay, but all in all, we're avoiding the center of the eyelid. And usually what's left, I'll smudge a little bit on my lower lash line, just the outer part, just what's left. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a more compact brush. This is by Japanese. You can see it's not as fluffy. It's more dense and compact. So this is 836 by Japanese. You don't need the same brush, just like a more like semi-fluffy, semi-compact brush. And I'm going to start going in with darker colors. So I'm going to go in with this semi-sweet, just your typical chocolate brown. And by the way, none of these have shimmer. You don't want shimmer. You want a matte color rather than shimmer in your crease. Just save shimmer for your lid. No shimmer when you're carving out your crease. So now I'm going to gently press in this darker brown color. And the reason I want a more compact brush is because I can be more precise with where I place this. So I want this in the outer part of my eye to define it a little more. I like to keep the darker shadows in the outer part of my eye rather than bring them in, because you want light shadows in the center part of your eye, darker in the exterior, and that's gonna help your eye look bigger. So you can see that I'm just creating a backward C, or that C shape, and then circular motions. Blending it out just to soften that line. I blend it out about mid crease, just a little. And this is gonna be very soft, very romantic. You can see whatever's left, I always bring back and forth. You just want this all to be seamless. Now same thing on the other eye. Create that C shape and then blend it out with those tiny little circular forward and backward motions. Now I'm gonna go in with this darker, this is triple fudge. It's very dark brown. And I'm just gently pat, 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 just a little bit. Same thing, wiggle that just in that outer part. I'm not even gonna bring this mid eye. I'm keeping that rounded shape. Sometimes you can go out with a horizontal point, like a sideways triangle, if you really want a dramatic look, but I'm trying to keep this as soft as possible. So you can see I'm just layering different brown shades. So you can take any palette you have, because sometimes, you know, most palettes come with different browns, and just layer those. Start with your lightest brown and just layer them, slowly layer them. You can't blend enough. That's really the key to this look. Okay, see how beautiful that is? It adds definition. It's dramatic, but not too much. I think any skin tone, any hair color would look beautiful with this because it's browns. Brown is softer than black and grays. So now for the center of the lid, I'm going to take a flat brush. This is the Pro Packing Shadow, number 13 by Sephora. They have great line of brushes, by the way. Actually, I'm gonna show you 3 different looks that we can go with this, okay? So first I'm gonna start with this. Your just basic cream. This is like an ochre. It's not white, it's like an ivory. And then gently pack this, just press it first and then start swiping on your lid. Just in that part we avoided shadow. You don't want to go too far into the dark colors. Do 2 layers of that. I take that original brush and go over everything just to make sure it hugs, really hugs that shadow. And that can be that for shadow. But by applying a light color there, this is gonna be your most natural option, and it's really gonna help your eyes look big and more awakened by applying that ivory color right on your lid and then the darker color in the exterior. So there's option 1. Now maybe you want a more champagne-y, pinky option. Then I'm gonna go in with Champagne Truffle. And I find using my fingers on these shimmers works better. The warmth of your finger is really gonna pick it up more. So then gently just on top of that white shadow is just gonna intensify it, totally fine. Gently bringing it to my inner corner, but trying not to get above the crease. I'm swiping it. And this is such a beautifully milled shadow. Shimmer's not gonna fall onto your face. But you would totally use a shadow shield or Kleenex if you're worried about like glitter falling onto your face. Another option is to do your eyes first. That way you can wipe away with micellar water, wipe any glitter that falls. So this is option number 2 for shadow. Beautiful champagne shimmer onto your lid. That color is so beautiful, neutral. You could put a little of that, honestly. Pick it up again with your finger. And then press it in the inner part of your eye just for a more awakened look. Option number 3 would be a gold glitter. And I'm just gonna apply it over this because it's just gonna keep intensifying my shadows. There's no harm done in that. I do wanna show you a trick. You can just go all in with your gold shimmer with your finger. Since I already have a shadow on my lid, I'm worried it might not show up as well on top of that. Another option you can do, take your flat brush, dip it into a little concealer. This is also a great trick for just cleaning up. Any shadows. Just a little concealer. But this little stickiness and tackiness, it's gonna help my gold now really pop. And you can do this in general with any of with the champagne truffle, and it will just help it pop a little more. So now go in with my finger. Swipe it on. And there's that beautiful gold. And then you can totally sharpen up the darker if you want to intensify the darker color and then just have it hugging the shimmer. You can go back over everything. Same concept with your eyeliner. A brown is going to be more soft and flattering than a black. It's not going to be as dramatic or intense as a black. So I'm using, this is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in Demolition. Here's just a little, you can see it's little but rounded, and this is going to be really good for smudging out that liner. So first I'm going to apply it on my lower lash line. I'm wiggling this by my lashes. And then taking this to smudge, to go back and forth over everything I just did. Now I'm going to apply it as close to my lashes on the top line, and then I am going to go over this with a liquid liner. But by applying a crayon liner first, it's gonna soften that liquid liner and help it apply on. And then you can go over the brush too. But it's gonna help just smoke out, because I want this as smoky as possible rather than dramatic, stark lines. So I just think this is a good guideline to apply before you go in with your liquid liner if you want. And you guys can tap out whenever. If this is enough for you, then apply your mascara and you're good to go. But you know, we can also intensify it by applying lashes, which I'll show you in a minute. Now I'm ready for my liquid eyeliner, and I'm using black. I'm going to go over it with, smudge it out with a little brown shadow. So for this, it's important to have an angled eyeliner brush and work with it right away before it dries. And that's gonna help soften up the line. Okay, I don't have an angled eyeliner brush in front of me, but I have this, which you can see it's just a little brush. I do have an angled, well, here's an angled eyeliner brush, but I'm not crazy about these. But it's all kind of, you want a more like, it's a very thin top, more defined, where I can work on the tip of this and then spread out, smudge out the line as it's wet. So even if you are very scared of liquid eyeliner, this is a great way for you to apply it. So here I have my Urban Decay. This is as liquid as it comes, and I'm just messily going to apply short little strokes. And then the brush, this is where it comes in handy. So really quickly, I'm gonna dip this in a brown, because I don't have a brown liquid, and smudge out that line, just extend it so it hugs my eyelashes a little more naturally. Now you can stay as close to your lash line as possible, and that will really intensify your eye. See on the right side, it just dramatizes it. But you can make this, you can totally make this line as thick as you want if you want to hug the eye more, you know, create a more cat eye or doe effect eye. You can round it out a bit and really extend that line, thicken that line, which I love. I personally love a little drama. So you can see I go back, I really take my time going back and forth. And I think that's key, just going slowly back and forth, taking your time rather than trying to rush into this, building one big line and just being really shaky and having that get messy. Because liquid eyeliner is very difficult to deal with, but if you have the appropriate brush, like an angled eyeshadow brush really comes in handy with this, you'll be good to go. So I like to bring this all the way, you know, totally hug the eye. And then if I'm looking straight on, at the very last eyelash, extend up. Up, like if there's an invisible line, the exact way that's going would meet the tip of my eyebrow. Okay, so see how subtle that is? And now I'm going to go over it again, thicken it, and then connect it. So I really thickened it up. You can make this as thin as you want. Okay, so that's for that eye. Now same thing on the other eye. All right, I have one more little eyeliner secret. Take a white crayon, a white eyeliner crayon. I have this NYX Jumbo eye pencil in the color 604 Milk. And I'm going to apply this. Ugh, this might look awkward. But I'm gonna pull this down very carefully and apply this in my waterline. The white on your waterline is gonna bounce off your eyeballs. See the difference with this one and that one? I mean, you don't wanna go onto your eyelash line and like get into that black. This is just your waterline. So the whites, like I have bad allergies, so I tend to have more red eyes, but it's just gonna help the whites of your eyeballs look more awaken and pop more, which will show up beautifully in photos. So now we're ready for false lashes. So to finish, you can next apply your mascara. This is one of the only days I recommend waterproof mascara. Otherwise it can be very drying, but on a wedding day, of course, waterproof mascara. Top it off, curl your lashes for more dramatic effect and lengthening effect, or you can apply dun 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 false lashes. What will it be, ladies? What will it be? For false lashes, you can get any one you want, but these are Dell Wispies, are pretty darn good. They're very lightweight, they're affordable, they're good on most eye shapes. Now, you wanna make sure they're not too long for your eye shape, you know, depending on your eye shape. Take one out and size it up right now. Just kind of line it up with your eyes. And if you notice it's extending too far out, you can trim it with little scissors. You could use regular scissors, honestly. You don't want it poking at your eye. So that's pretty good, but you can totally trim it. Now, the best glue that's not gonna fail you is the Duo. And usually this is sold at CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, right next to the eyelashes. So this stuff is tough. It's not gonna budge your eyelashes. You're not gonna be embarrassed with your eyelashes falling off. Nothing's worse than that. Anyways, put it out on your hand. Now this is the most important part. Let it sit for at least 30 seconds. You want this glue to get very tacky. Whereas if you went right in right away and then put it on your eye, it's gonna slide around, it's not gonna stick. So when it gets a little sticky, when it gets a little tacky, it will stick better. So after 30 seconds, then dip the band, you know, the part that is connecting, holding all the hairs together. And then really make sure your lash line is coated. And then you want some tweezers. This is really gonna be your best friend for helping you get the precise placement. And then again, you wanna wait 30 seconds to a minute to really let this get tacky. This isn't one of those things where you need to work as fast as you can. Actually, the longer you wait, the better, because it's gonna just stick right on. Now that I have all my glue on and I've let it sit for like a minute or so, now time for the application. Holding it together with my wand. The best trick is to come from above. So I got my mirror, I'm looking down at my mirror as I'm coming above. You guys see that? I'm looking down at my mirror as I'm coming from above, and really try to push this back so that it will attach on basically right where your eyelashes start. And this is where the pliers come in handy, because the tweezers, whatever, because your hands are gonna, the warmth of your hands, it's just gonna pull it up. Now that you think you have proper placement, then you wanna squeeze it together, because that's going to help the glue. That's just gonna help the glue stick and help your false lashes bind to your real lashes. Just be careful. Be very careful so you don't pinch your eyelid. I've done it before. And you really want to make sure that the center, the front, is attached. So really go back in and push that down, because there's nothing worse than this front part sticking out, or worse, poking you in the eye. And all this white glue is going to dry. Don't worry, sometimes it takes, depending on how much you applied, sometimes it'll take a couple minutes. So look how beautiful, we got one on. Now, same glue, and you know how long that's been drying. That's just been sitting there drying. So this next one should be seamless. So get your next eyelash for the left eye. Dip it into the glue. Oh, this glue is perfect. Yay. Oh, yeah, make sure you have all glue removed on your tweezers, by the way, because then it's gonna pull up your lash. If there's any glue on here, it's gonna pull up your lash as you're trying to like secure it and all that, and that's not good. Sometimes if the glue gets far too much on, I just kind of wipe it off with my finger. All right, for whatever reason, I feel like applying this with my fingers on this eye. Okay, make sure it's lined up properly before you go in, and just start squeezing everything to secure it. Lastly, I always do the front. Okay, let the glue just sit for like 3 minutes, let it dry. I know it feels weird, it feels gunky. If you feel anything poking, quickly while the glue's still wet, try to, with the tweezers, like pick that up a little and then push it back. The key is to have these as close to your eyelashes. Like that's why I squeeze them with the tweezers to bind them together basically, because you want it with your eyelashes. And that will look the most natural. You don't want them above your eyelashes. But yeah, be very careful. I'm gonna let these dry for a minute. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes. You can see still a little bit that hasn't dried and that's still white. So if you're in a hurry, then go back in with your liquid eyeliner and just go over that. And that'll totally color in the white. You can go over it with mascara. I don't really have, I already put my liquid eyeliner back. So I'm taking a little mascara and just go over that area. Color in any white so that looks a little more natural. And then I like how light and fluffy these are, but you can totally go over with mascara just to bind your natural lashes with the false. Definitely apply on your lower lash line. Now, lastly, lip. I think a long wearing liquid lipstick is best for today. You really want to exfoliate, whether you have an exfoliating brush or just your toothbrush, go over your lips for about 30 seconds to a minute. That's gonna naturally help plumpen them up, bring blood to your lips, plumpen them up a little and get rid of any dead skin so that your liquid lipstick will glide on more beautifully. And then you can apply a little chapstick or whatever moisturizer before you go in with liquid lip, but make sure nothing noticeably on your lips or like gloss or anything. So my favorite liquid lipstick is by Lip Sense. You have to get this through a distributor. I don't know if any of you have heard of Lip Sense. There's tons of people selling it on Instagram. If you don't have access to Lip Sense, then I would recommend the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick. I like that hers is fairly moisturizing, not too drying. I also like the Stila all day liquid lipsticks. I don't recommend red. I just have this to show you. It's Anastasia. So for Lip Sense, this is the color Bella, which I would always apply in brides. This is one of their most popular sellers, especially for brides. This is supposed to bind with your lips, and this is supposed to not smudge onto, you know, when you kiss, when you drink, onto your glass, no matter what, it doesn't smudge. Whereas some liquid lipsticks can. This binds to your lips. It like burns because it's binding, and it lasts for at least 12 hours. So you apply 2 layers. Again, this is like a mauve berry, very flattering for many skin tones. This says apply 3 layers, letting each dry for 5 seconds. Okay, sometimes I just do 2. I guess by applying 3, that makes sure it truly binds to your lips. So I'm starting with the exterior of my lips and then moving towards the center. Now, once it's dry, it won't be sticky anymore. It's still a little sticky while it's drying. I think that's a good rule of thumb when applying any liquid lipstick. Have your mouth open like that in between coats and while you're letting it dry. But I think this is a very beautiful color. I think it's good to go a little dark. Like this isn't a nude. I don't recommend a nude for the day of your wedding, only because it can wash you out in photos. So I know sometimes blush and then the darker browns that I applied might be a little dramatic, but it's good to go just a tad on the dramatic side so that your makeup will show up in photos and just help look a little more beautiful under the bright lights or the flash of the photos. So you can go over that with gloss if you love the glossy look. If you don't like liquid lipstick, then I recommend this Makeup Forever, their Aqua lip pencil in the color 2C. This is a beautiful bridal color. And then go over it with their matching lipstick. Or you could line your lips first, go over it with a liquid lipstick or something. And then, you know, lastly, spray your makeup setting spray. You can never do that enough to make sure everything is perfectly as it should be. Alrighty, I'm out of things to do. So this completes my wedding makeup tutorial. I hope you guys found some good tips. You know, take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you didn't like some of the colors, you can eliminate. But all in all, I hope I was able to give you guys some ideas of ways you can apply your own wedding makeup at home, because you can do it and you can save a ton of money also and not worry about coming in contact with other people. So let me know if you have any specific questions or any color suggestions you'd like me to give for a lip product or blush or eyeshadow, etc. But I don't think you can go wrong with the smoky browns. So thank you guys for watching and good luck to any of you getting married. Mwah. See you in my next video. Bye.